Hi friends, Nathan Pierce here with Family Protection Ministries. We are going to be talking a little bit about speaking the truth in love and a little bit of what happened at the Capitol this week, as well as we're going to talk a little bit about something going on in New Jersey where homeschooling is under attack there and what you can pray for in terms of homeschool freedom both in New Jersey, across the nation, and right here in California. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Frontline with FPM, where we talk about California politics, homeschool freedom, parental rights, and the family. I'm your host, Nathan Pierce, and thanks for joining us today. Let's jump right in and see what's going on here on the front line. All right, so as we look at this passage of Scripture, Ephesians 4:15, it says, rather speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into him who is the head, into Christ. As we think about this, we want to be considering how we can speak the truth in love to those around us. And speaking the truth in love is hard. It can be, especially in a world that labels truth as hate. And yet it is the call of every Christian to do this. We live in an age where truth is often seen as relative, offensive, or even hateful. And the prophet Isaiah warned us of this inversion when he said, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, in Isaiah 5 verse 20. In today's culture, all around us, we're seeing biblical convictions labeled as intolerance, and moral clarity is mistaken for bigotry. Yet Scripture commands us to speak the truth in love, a calling that requires both boldness and compassion. Truth without love can wound, but love without truth will deceive. Our advocacy must be grounded in both. And Jesus modeled this balance perfectly. He spoke with authority, never compromising the truth, yet he did so with grace and tenderness. John 1:14. When addressing the woman caught in adultery, he did not condone her sin, but he also did not condemn her as the Pharisees did. He said, go and from now on sin no more. John 8 verse 11. In this we see a Savior who confronts sin truthfully while extending mercy. Likewise, we must speak into cultural issues, whether on family, education, or justice, not with self-righteous anger, but with Christ-like humility, as it says in Philippians 2 verses 3 and 5. As God's ambassadors, we cannot afford silence in the face of deception. The church is called to be a pillar and buttress of the truth, as it says in 1 Timothy 3:15. And that means we must be willing to lovingly challenge the lies of our time. This will often be uncomfortable, but the alternative, complacency or compromise, undermines both our witness and our mission. Truth is not merely an idea, it is a person, Jesus Christ. John 14:6. When we speak his truth in his way, we shine light into darkness and offer the only real hope our culture has. So ask Jesus to make you bold and tender. Let's be bold for Christ today. All right, I wanted to sort of lay that groundwork as we get into the next topic, which has to do with legislative update here in Sacramento. Today, I wanted to give you an update on the bill process and what's going on in the Assembly Education Committee with AB 727. Now, AB 727 is that ID card bill that at the beginning of this year we were dealing with as a bill that would impact private homeschools. Anybody that issues a student ID card, any kind of student ID card, to students would have to include the Trevor Project phone number and allow students all over, every student in the state of California, to have access to the Trevor Project's counseling services. And this is based out of the idea that students should have access to counseling from the Trevor Project because it is the number one counseling service for LGBT students that are considering suicide. There's a lot of other services provided by the Trevor Project. These are not good services from a biblical family perspective. And so we are concerned about the direction that this bill is going. However, they did amend the bill to take out private schools and private homeschools. It does still impact the Christian colleges, all higher ed institutions are still covered in this bill, and as are public school students. So it's still a problematic bill. It's still troubling. But at this point, we are grateful that the private schools and private homeschools have been taken out of the bill. But it's still a concern. And that bill came to committee yesterday in the Senate Education Committee, and there was discussion about it. In fact, there was even a sermon about why this bill is so good and why Jesus would have supported it. And so it was quite a heavy hearing. We will have a link to it on our YouTube channel, but I do want to let you know that that bill is not a good bill. And let me double check to see where the status is as of right this moment, because the updates have been coming sometimes faster, sometimes slower, and so we have to keep on top of what's going on in the legislature on a minute-by-minute basis. So currently, it has passed out of the Senate Education Committee, and it is in the Senate Appropriations Committee. That's where they decide how much, if they have the money to spend to implement this bill. So it so far has passed every policy committee where they decide, is this good policy for our state? And it is now in the final fiscal committee where they decide whether or not they have the money to pass it. That's what appropriations committee means, is that's where they decide which bills to spend their money on. And so that's where this bill is right now. It's already been through the appropriations committee on the assembly side. Now it's in the Senate side. Actually, it was amended on June 19th. That's where the amendment came through. So it will actually need to go back to the assembly side after it gets out of the Senate. So right now it's made its way through the policy committee in the Senate, and now it's going into the appropriations committee in the Senate. It already went through both of those on the assembly side, and it will not probably go back to those committees on the assembly side. It is going to go to the floor after appropriations. That would be the next step. If AB 727 makes it through the appropriations committee, they decide they have the money for it, then it will go to the Senate floor, and all 40 California state senators will vote on it on the California state Senate floor. And then at that point, it will go back to the assembly floor to be concurred on the assembly floor, not committees, but the floor, and all 80 assembly members will have to vote on that bill again. Then it would go to the governor's desk for his signature or veto. So at this point, the way I look at this is that we have this bill that's made it so far through, but I count not necessarily how far it's gotten. I count how many stops it has left, because each one of those stops that it has left is an opportunity for the bill to die. So right now it's in appropriations. It could die in appropriations. It could die on the floor in the Senate, and it could die on the floor in the Assembly. It also could die on the governor's desk. So there's 4 steps, and really there's more, because God always could have something up his sleeve that surprises us. But that's 4 basic stops that the bill has, and 4 basic chances for the bill to be voted down or for it to die for whatever reason. So we can be praying for this bill to die. And that's a really specific prayer, I know, and it might sound odd, but I would ask you to pray that AB 727 dies in this committee, and that would be a great end for this bill. I would also encourage you to consider contacting your own state senator, because this bill will be going to the floor if it passes out of the Appropriations Committee. So you can contact your state senator about AB 727 and ask him to vote no. All right, so that's it for the ledge update. I will try to get that hearing posted so that you can take a look at the discussion that was had there and hear the views of these different legislators and understand kind of what we're dealing with at the state level when it comes to these issues. So that's it with the ledge update, and next we're going to go into this story in New Jersey, talking about New Jersey regulations and what they're dealing with there and fighting against to protect homeschool freedom in New Jersey. We're hearing that the legislature in New Jersey is pushing through a couple of pieces of legislation that seem to be parts of the Make Homeschool Safe Act. They are portions that deal with curriculum and state standards for teaching, and so we need to look at this as a set of regulations, restrictions on homeschooling, where homeschool families will have to meet certain state criteria for how they are doing their homeschooling, and that specifically includes having the state review their curriculum. They have to get specific permission for their curriculum to be allowed to use that curriculum. The parents would no longer be in the driver's seat in terms of choosing their curriculum. The state becomes in the driver's seat. And this is going in through the legislature right now, so you can be praying for the legislature in New Jersey to have wisdom and to not push through a piece of legislation that regulates all homeschoolers just because they think that certain people should do a better job or should use different curriculum or something. It's difficult to understand all the motivations here, but one of the things we do know is that just a month ago there was a news story that some connected to homeschooling. It doesn't seem like it's really a homeschool case as far as I can see. It does seem like there were people that used the term homeschooling in this situation, but this story, you may have heard the headline from the New York Times that they said she was homeschooled. She said she was locked in a dog crate, which sounds absolutely terrible. But that was the headline that the New York Times gave. And so when you look through these stories of legislation restricting homeschooling, many times they are traced back to an incident that's used to drive through the legislation, and it's based on a story. More often than not, that story isn't actually accurately connected to homeschooling, and there's probably other things going on that should have actually been dealt with previously, and really the homeschool proposed laws in this case in New Jersey wouldn't stop something like this situation in the New York Times news story from happening. It doesn't. This sort of a news story that gets lots of attention, media attention, is something that gets used to try to hype up people to regulate and restrict homeschooling. But as in this case again, we're seeing again a piece of legislation that's introduced that actually wouldn't do anything to stop that type of situation from happening again. So this is an abuse situation. This is a social services issue, and in this case, we'll just have to wait and see what ultimately happens with all the investigations of the case. But also in this legislation, we need to be praying for the Christians, the families. There's a wide range of families in New Jersey that homeschool and enjoy the freedom that they have to do that there. And we need to be praying for them, and we need to be praying for legislators to have wisdom and to do the right thing here and to not take parents out of the driver's seat when it comes to educating their own children. I do have an announcement about our government class that takes place in the fall, August through December. The government class sort of culminates as well in the Capital Day that happens in early part of the following year. This year, 2025, we're launching our government class, and it consists of two classes, two separate classes, government class as well as a parallel class that is economics. And we encourage students to join with us and take that class. It's a very rigorous class. It really is a very higher level high school class, and we have a lot of reading of great books that help you understand the principles of government, and we go into the biblical principles of government and also how our government currently works. The same with economics, what the biblical principles are in economics and how it currently works in our system. But we also take it a step further than that. So we have a course in government and a course in economics. We give the students the basics of those two courses, anything that you would expect to find in a secular or a Christian class relating to those topics, government and economics. We teach it from a strictly biblical perspective, but the extra portion of that class is helping students to learn the practical, hands-on ways that they can make a difference in our government system today. So it has practical, how does the state and federal government work, and how can I be involved in it? How can my voice be heard in our government? And as you know, we're here at Family Protection Ministries. We're all about engaging people in advocacy. That's what we do here. And so we are adding that it's infused into these classes to help students come out the other end of these classes ready to make a difference, ready to engage in our government system, and ready to make a difference in our world today. So that's what we do here with these classes, Government and Economics for high school students. It's available for high school juniors and seniors, and we would encourage you to apply today. We are taking applications to enroll in these classes for the fall of 2025, and those classes will go, they will be held live over Zoom, and some will be in person. So students can join us either in person in the Sacramento area or online. And those classes are taking place Monday mornings from 10 a.m. to noon. So let us know if you have any other questions. You can contact us through our website, and you can also apply on our website as well. So next after that is August 23rd down in San Diego. In La Mesa, we will be having our Homeschool Freedom Day. And we're working on that event together with Chia. Chia is also hosting a leadership conference the day before in La Mesa as well, August 22nd. So we'd love to see you there. This event, we have attorney Darren Jones coming from HSLDA to speak at Homeschool Freedom Day on August 23rd, as well as myself. We also have some other speakers that will be coming, and we have a great lineup of topics that we'll be covering, some helpful how-tos as well as inspirational and historical explanations of how we got the freedom that we do have and what we need to do to keep it. We'll also have Christy Clover coming and talking about some things that will help keep our minds right in terms of why we do this thing. Why do we engage in advocacy, and why is it important? And how we as families can participate. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Frontline with FPM. For more information about the topics we discuss here, check out Family Protection Ministries at fpmca.org and subscribe to our channel.